Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you enjoyed your lunch. I understand we are ready to proceed with the evidence in the case from the state.
Yes, Judge. State calls Agent Bryan Smith.
Swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Go ahead and have a seat.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Will you go ahead and please state and spell your name for the record?
My name is David, D-A-V-I-D, Bryan, B-R-Y-A-N, Smith, S-M-I-T-H.
And sir, what do you do for a living?
I'm an assistant special agent in charge with the Georgia Bureau of Investigation assigned to the Region 3 field office.
Okay, and what does Region 3 cover?
There are 9 counties that are generally in southwest Georgia, Americus, which is Sumter County, Lee County, Crisp County, Marion County, Stewart County, Webster County, Chattahoochee County, generally southwest Georgia, not as far south as like Thomasville, but southwest Georgia.
Okay. And you said you were a assistant special agent in charge?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And specifically, could you break that down a little bit more into your day-to-day duties?
Yes, sir. So I am an assistant special agent in charge. GBI office generally has 5 to 7 field agents, which are basically state law enforcement investigators. If you imagine a normal police department has investigators and uniformed guys and ladies. At the state level, the Georgia State Patrol would be the uniformed guys, and the GBI would be the investigators for the state police. Most field offices, the primary responsibility is to assist local agencies with resources and investigations in which they request resources, be it investigative resources, crime scene resources, or other technical resources. So that's generally what a GBI office does, is we assist local agencies with violent crime investigations, crime scene investigations, crimes against children, and other types of more serious crimes. In each office there is a special agent in charge, and then there is an assistant special agent in charge. The special agent in charge is over the office. He's kind of like the police chief of a really small department. And then the assistant special agent in charge, which is what I do, I handle operational supervision task, as well as some administrative tasks, as well as the other title, I guess, that I have is I'm also the crime scene program coordinator, which means I'm responsible for training and assisting. Just as I mentioned how you have 15 regional offices throughout the state, each one of those offices has 2 crime scene investigators assigned to that office. So in addition to the administrative duties for the Region 3 office, I also assist with training, equipping, and in-service training for the 15 or 30 crime scene specialists throughout the state.
At some point, were you asked to become involved in the investigation of the death of Ahmaud Arbery?
Yes, sir, I was.
Okay, and can you go ahead and tell the jury what your involvement was?
Yes, sir. So on May the 6th, 2020, I responded to the Satilla Shores neighborhood area here in Glenn County for 2 purposes. One, to do what is called digital mapping, which is using 3D laser scanners to digitally map the entire neighborhood, and then to use what are called small unmanned aerial systems, or drones for what most people know them as, to collect video footage and still photographs of the entire neighborhood. So basically digitally mapping, collecting videos and still frames of the entire neighborhood where this incident occurred.
Okay. And you mentioned a drone, or what was the other name you gave?
So they're technically called small unmanned aerial vehicles.
Okay. And were you trained in the use of these vehicles?
Yes, sir. So law enforcement agencies do not fall directly under the federal Aviation Administration's what's called Part 107 requirements, where you have to basically have what's considered a pilot's license, but you couldn't really fly a real plane, but it's considered a pilot's license to operate small, and I'm just going to start saying drones, because saying small and manned aerial vehicles over and over again gets tongue twisting. The GBI has an 8-hour training program, as well as monthly in-service training requirements that we are required to fly the drones and operate the cameras and do digital mapping with them at least once a month. Most law enforcement agencies that use drones have what's called a COA, or a certificate of authorization, which allows them to use drones for law enforcement purposes. So some of the I'll say red tape for flying drones, which is really red tape for safety purposes, that does not directly apply to us. We have to contact what's called the NOTAM notification, where they call any nearby airports where there are flight towers to let them know that we're operating a drone for law enforcement purposes. That gives us that authorization. So it's not the same type of authorization that civilians would have to get, but we do have training and have authorization through the federal government to operate drones for law enforcement purposes.
Okay. Leading up to the day you went out there to take these drone videos,
Yes.
were you briefed on some of the facts of the case, or how do you know what you were going to do when you got there?
Yes, sir. I was generally briefed on where the incident began, where the incident moved to, where the incident moved back to, where the incident moved to, where the incident, I guess, became final. So I was pointed out a number of residences that were landmarks, for lack of a better word, where certain things happened, certain movement points were established, and all of that. So I used that as kind of my beginning and moving points of areas of focus where to map and to collect videos.
Okay. Did you or did a team get together and decide what sort of height to fly this drone at? Can you tell the jurors what height you did and how you decided to do that?
So the peat moss and the oak trees made that decision a lot easier. I'm sure if any of you've had plenty of experience with that, and over in Albany we have the same sort of thing. The problem for digital mapping and flying in the Satilla Shores neighborhood, y'all have these really beautiful oak trees that make the canopies. Well, the problem, if you get above those, you really can't see the street below them. And then depending on the time of the year, the peat moss will be hanging down, so you can't put your drone very high either. So it creates a fairly small window of usually between 5 feet and 7 or 8 feet above the ground, which is where I did the majority of the videos, because again, if you get above the trees, you have these canopies that make it very difficult to actually see the roadways and see the geography on the roads. And then if you get under the peat moss, you have to, and that's where in some of these videos you'll see the drone going along, and then it'll have to do this and do this and do this a little bit, because you have to, get around the peat moss.
Okay. And how did you decide what speed to fly the drone at?
I tried to go as slow as I could. One of the things that you learn as a crime scene investigator is that if you're going to take video, you have to go really, really slow with it, because if you just take a video camera and swing around, one, it's going to make the viewer sick from motion sickness, and two, the lens and the aperture actually doesn't have time to reset to get the lighting and all that kind of stuff. So you have to do it really slowly.
And can you give a general description of the route you took? You don't necessarily have to give street names, but kind of can you walk them through what you
So
did?
you don't want me to use street names?
You can if you remember them, or if you have them documented.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, so I began on Satilla, where the house that was under construction that has been part of this case. I started the first drone video right there, where I'm looking at the house that's under construction, and then I turned south and moved down the roadway very slowly to the McMichael's house, turned toward the McMichael's house, and then back towards the road, back down to the main intersection where Satilla, Burford, and Holmes all come together. And then there's another video segment that goes down.
Let me pause you real quick, Agent Smith. There's a map that actually the defense produced today. Could you go ahead and hold this, if you can, and point to the parts on the map that you're talking about to orient the jurors?
Yes.
And Agent Smith, we have 2 jurors back here, so if you could just make sure, there you go.
Okay. Can I?
Or I can
stand
hold
up?
it for you.
No, it's good. I'm good. I got you.
Just don't fall over.
Yeah, it won't be the first time. So you can see where Satilla, Holmes, and Burford all come together right here. Ma'am, can you see that? Can you gentlemen see that? Okay. So I started right down here, and I apologize, I don't have the exact numbers right here on my notes, but I started down here on Satilla where the house that was under construction was. I took a video clip basically coming down this way where I stopped in front of the McMichael house and then turned and went back to this main intersection, and then had another video where we start at this main intersection where the final incident occurred, went down Burford to Mr. Bryan's house, and then turned around and came back, and then another video that goes down Holmes to where the incident transitioned from one direction to another and came back to the
Now, were these videos taken in short segments? Were they long segments? Describe to the jurors how you decided to do that.
So the particular drone that I was using was an Inspire 2 by DJI, which is one of the more popular drone manufacturers. It has the particular drone that we have uses a Zenmuse 7 camera that is it's actually a cinematography quality video and still frame camera. I don't have the megapixel specs right here with me, but it's a pretty high quality camera. So when you're shooting the videos, they wind up being pretty large files. I want to say they were 6, 8, 10 gigabytes per video, which is why if I had tried to do all the way down Satilla, all the way down Burford, back up Burford, up Holmes, and back down Holmes, I would have created a video file that was so large it would have been virtually impossible to do anything with it, which is why we wound up doing it in segments based on not only what information I had been given about where segments of the incident occurred, but just the sheer file size would have been difficult to transfer and all that sort of stuff.
Do you know how many videos you ultimately took?
I collected 25 video clips. I don't mind saying, as you were asking earlier, the PMOS and all that kind of stuff made some of the video clips shorter and wound up being a little more jumpy than I wanted them to be. So some of the video clips were to some degree repetitive in that I was trying to keep the video very still and moving slowly and all that. But we collected 25 video clips.
Okay. And at some point before the trial, you and I met, or you met with our team, and we went over those videos. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, we did.
Okay. And did we show you a set number of videos that we were going to plan on using in trial?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you reviewed those with us?
Yes, sir.
And are those true and accurate copies of the videos that you took?
Yes, sir, they are.
Okay. Judge, at this time, state moves to place State's Exhibit 128 into evidence, and that is a flash drive containing the 7 videos that we plan on tendering in court. And I have the names of them. I'll have the officer point out.
See? No objection.
No objection.
No objection.
I'm just going to pull them up real quick. We won't play them all the way through with you, Agent Smith. There's 8 here, but is there a duplicate?
The R. Bryan route finish.
There is one duplicate file on here, but do these look like the 7 that we went through?
The icons do appear familiar to me, yes, sir.
Agent Smith, is there anything else that you did during the investigation of this case?
No, sir.
Okay. Judge, at this time, we'll pass the witness.
No questions.
No questions, Your Honor.
No questions, Your Honor.
Thank you. You may step down. You are subject to recall. Thank you.
State calls Jessica Hamilton.